I know what you mean.
Congratulations. We are live. You've discovered another meta egg, and today we're talking about Star Wars with my main man, Bryan Miller, also known as Star Wars Santa. Now, I like Santa. I'm going to give you your flowers real quick. I like you because you're extremely positive. It's always easy to talk to, even when the majority of the fan base is down and out. It's good to talk to you about things. We've taken a break for the last year. There hasn't been there's been a little bit of stuff that comes out or came out, but it's a big year now, 2026. So I'm bringing you into the fray here to give us an update of what's coming out, what's the big deal, to look for Easter eggs with us, and in the capacity of a film analyst. So everybody, welcome Star Wars Santa.
Thanks,
Again,
Will.
thank
I
you for
appreciate it.
being so positive. Also, I mean, that's a big deal for me.
Well,
Um,
it's a big deal for me. There's so much criticism, and I get critical too, but I can't live in that headspace too long. I can't dwell on it, and I found myself wanting to focus on the positive, find the things that I like, and spend my time there. Go ahead and vent, let it out, and then move on. You know, and a lot of people get stuck on the criticisms and they can't get off of it. So that's my my goal is to bring some more positivity. My goal is to share my passion, my love. It's like the old Bambi, right? With Thumper, can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all, right? That kind of
yeah,
thing.
I mean, there are things that I think all of us kind of like have had annoy us, but I feel like, sometimes I just want to talk about stuff
Yeah,
despite what the main consensus is or what the trend to talk about it is. I found that like really difficult to talk about Acolyte with everybody, almost like and that was one of the things that I loved. I mean, back in the day when like fandom initially started, it was so hard to like, you know, get in contact with another fan, and now we share it so quickly with each other. You would have to go to like a convention, or it's interesting
yeah,
because we're going to just like segue into what we're talking about. uh, but the initial, like, your way into fan art, there's a lot of people who are YouTubers who are fan art, or that's the type of that's like almost their hobby, so to speak.
yeah.
um
Well, when I first started the channel, and early on with the channel, it's about once a week or so, we would spend time looking into uh, fanfic, right? Fan fiction, fan films, fan art, and reviewing it, talking about it, finding stuff we liked. Fan films have been around, and fan art has been around since the beginning of Star Wars. People started making stuff right away, whether it was for, like a convention, what is that, where they'd get dressed up, they make their
Magazine
own stuff, right?
cosplay.
Yeah, cosplay. People started cosplaying as Star Wars before we even got Empire Strikes Back. It was a big deal. So it's been around since the beginning. And what we've seen with fan films, and fan films for a long time have been kind of painful to watch because some of them are just so bad. And, and not
I mean,
throwing
well,
stones, right? But it's
more
just like,
recently, like people who have made fan films, there was like a period of time, correct me if I'm wrong, where it was like they were actually starting to become employed because some of the special effects were better or whatnot.
oh yeah.
And
But going out in the woods behind your house, wearing a Jedi robe and carrying a lightsaber,
that's a
acting
Tuesday.
and doing, your choreographed fight in the woods behind your house. Some of those weren't so great, you know. The acting's not so great because they're not professional actors. The cinematography's not great because they're using whatever. But the point was, they were having a good time. They were spending time doing something they love, expressing themselves, and just having fun. There's nothing wrong with that. But what we've seen here lately is that the technologies come along to allow people to make content out of the same passion, but the quality is remarkable. It's really incredible because you can use these characters that we all love, and they're going to look like the characters. They're going to act like the characters, going to move like the characters, right? Like the sound, they look the same. And it's not you dressed up in a robe in your backyard, right? Somebody lights a lightsaber. It looks like they're lighting a lightsaber. They're quite realistic.
Well, I mean, it's just weird because, you know, even like, in, not to get political or whatever, but it's hard to distinguish like what you see nowadays is real and what isn't real, so to speak, whether it be somebody just making like a fake AI, like uh UFO sighting, you know what I mean, or if it's like a celebrity or whatnot, like
Right.
I feel like evidence is going to be a problem in in the future. I don't, have you seen this like trend of like somebody will advance on somebody in a grocery store, and there'll be like a third party taking a picture, and then they'll go up to the person and say, "Hey, this person hypnotized you," and they'll show a picture of like the two people kissing or something like that, and the person is being told that they just kissed somebody while they were hypnotized and being shown a video as proof. But
Like
oh no,
high-tech gaslighting.
yeah, it's basically gaslighting. It's like 100% making people think that they're going crazy because you're showing them doing stuff that they don't like remember doing or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Like I said, not to get too political, but it's happening with domestic politics. It's happening global politics where people are taking and making content, just whatever that content is, whether it's written or video, whatever. They're making this content. And then how do you know just from a glance if that content is authentic? And it's harder and harder to see.
oh, look at this. I have an idea. We can do this right here. I bet you ingredients to video. And if I go over here to Santa, let's see. I got it up underneath Bryan Miller. And then we'll take this guy. Yeah, we'll open him up. Look, isn't that handsome fella right there?
Fantastic, Will.
And then we need this guy. We need this guy to do a few Jedi moves. We need Star Wars Santa wields his lightsaber. You are definitely a Sith in this one, though. You got a red saber. Everyone's all right. All right. Well, I mean, what we were talking about is the AI. I mean, they basically teamed up with Sora, right? Is there anything else you want to say about this? I think that there was some important points of this whole article here.
Well, there are very important parts. The short of it is Disney gave them like $1 billion to license or have some equity stake in OpenAI. And as part of that, they've licensed several hundred assets from their IPs, Star Wars, Marvel, so on, in which then fans, you and me, whoever, could go in and use OpenAI to create content using those characters. That's the short of it. And then Disney has the capability then to take that content and put it on Disney Plus. And you could make something using OpenAI, this, passion that you have, where we're talking about, fan films, you could make something and then all of a sudden it's on Disney Plus and everybody in the world can see it on that platform. Pretty amazing. The concern I have, the thought that I have, and the thing that I don't know that people fully think through is the work that you do on that platform using those assets belongs to Disney. Your work, the content you create, all of it belongs to Disney.
Ooh, this is
If you're,
interesting.
if you are improving the quality through, revising and, working on it, then, they're gaining the benefit of your labor, your work. They don't have to hire people to teach OpenAI. Fans are going to teach it themselves. I don't know if that's
Like
what.
Korean barbecue, where you have to go and you're the one who's actually doing the cooking. I
Yeah,
mean, that just it kind of just I don't know if it's taking the fun out of it though. I mean, people will still probably make their type, but they'll make all kinds of stuff, like with it a video if it's just Stitch and it says the little girl's name or whatever. Here, look at this. There you go, Santa.
dude,
Yeah, that was just a few seconds.
that's
Wow.
crazy. That's crazy. Nice.
And that's wild. It
It's,
really just has some, you probably can't hear the noise. It's just like some dissonant noise, but all right, well, let's talk about, well, have we made all the points about AI that we needed to? Basically, this is like they're not only making a deal to be exclusive, they've also made a deal where they own the property after you make it, so to speak.
I mean,
Or
it's their
however
IP.
nice.
My
Right.
assumption is what you make, they own, right? And right now, there's this huge wave among like Star Wars content creators on social media lauding the efforts of these fans to make content that, of course, they put a bit of a negative spin on it to say, well, fans are making the content Disney refuses to make. They're making the stuff we like. Disney's making the stuff we don't like. Fans are making the great stuff. Disney's making the terrible stuff. That's the narrative. But I think they're missing the point of it, that Disney owns all of it. So, I mean, you're making content for Disney that's then owns the assets that you create. Like you created this, right? You created this. You took me and you put it in there. I don't have an NIL on my name, image, likeness, right? I don't have any kind of ownership to my logo, my brand, anything like that. It's all just stuff I made. But you then took this, put it in here. You technically own these assets. The figure you have here, the animated content you created here. All of this belongs to you. If you wanted to give it to me or sell it to me, or if I wanted to, purchase it, we could come up with a deal to do that. But I think when people take something like Darth Vader or Boba Fett or Luke Skywalker and create content with it, they
But there's
don't.
just all this, I just don't know. I mean, there's so much, there's so many, there's foggy line. You remember how back in the day you used to have to source who owned the picture before you could even use it in like a magazine article.
Oh yeah.
It's like all of those, all of those. That was good. All of those ideas and ways we used to track how like copyright worked, or basically they're just thrown out the door now. Okay, I don't, and a part of me doesn't know how the heck like Disney like, what are they going to start suing people if you use it? I don't know. It's
I
just
don't know if they
it's
sue them. I think they just take it. Right?
just
Like,
take it. But I mean, the other person still has it though. I mean, you can
yeah,
still download anything that you make. I don't know. We're such in like gray area of to what's like. I will they will movies be made different? I don't know
I'm sure.
because were
Yeah,
they've already. I don't know if there's been so much controversy on what Disney has already snuck by as AI as far as like the Secret Invasion with Marvel and all of that.
oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
Mhm.
so
Well, that's something I talked about with some of my supporters last week, is people have talked about deep faking or recasting characters to do new Star Wars content starring uh, characters of actors who aren't with us, say Carrie Fisher and Leia Organa, right?
watermarks.
You want to make something new with Leia Organa, you could, rather than recast or deepfake, you combine, you hire an actress who has the same body frame, basically, that Carrie Fisher did in 1987. You have that actress act the role, right? They do the scenes, they film the content, and then you tell AI, replace this actress's features with Carrie Fisher's features. Replace this actress's voice with Carrie Fisher's voice, using the same inflections, the same movements, the same expressions. Then AI would just replace it. You would never see that actress. A lot of times we see that now. The example is like voiceover work. There's somebody does a musical, and they're singing, except you don't hear their voice. You hear somebody who did the voiceover. Right? Well, they could do that, but do it with your voice, do it with your face, do it, the whole deal. I think that's going to happen. It's going to happen soon. And then eventually we'll get to the point where they won't even have to hire the actress to act it. They'll just tell the AI, once they've created enough assets in the learning model.
Yeah, because I mean, it's just going to get. This is all of that I've done to learn different ways of using AI. I feel like they're almost in vain because, like, in a year or two, it's just going to be a button. So,
Yeah.
like, there's ways that you have to problem solve to get what you want, but I think it's just going to be easier to get what you want in the future.
That's my point, is the Disney's not having to hire their own developers to teach AI to do that, right? There's a
Mhm, the
there's a
stuff.
learning process that AI has to go through, and it takes a person to keep working with it and working with it to get it to correct. Well, they're getting people to do that for free. They don't have to hire their developers to do it. People will do it for free. And then in a year or two, they'll be able to use all of that work to create a movie, a show, or whatever, starring Leia, that they did no work to create.
We're going to try something else here. I got another idea.
Yeah, like Dale said, Leia in Rogue One. So that's the point. Like, it started with deep faking, right? And they would spend a lot of effort in deep faking. And then we're to a point now where deep fake is obsolete technology. You don't need somebody to do deep fake. And we had people who were um, highly talented, who spent a lot of time and effort to learn the technology and to apply it. That's gone. All that work is gone, right? Because AI just does it.
Well, I feel like there will be a swing of people making stuff just for the slights of making it. I don't know. It's so hard to predict because people just consume things differently than they used to. It's not going to let us make this one. The thumbnail that I make, I can't get it to animate because it's just too much Star Wars in it. I guess it
Oh,
recognizes that it's Star Wars, but that's still pretty interesting. I just feel like I don't know. We're in such like hard territory to predict because anything goes in the future. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I would want things to be kind of made more craftsmanshipy in the future, but I doubt that they will be. I feel like costs are going to be cut as quickly as possible.
Well, that's the other, I guess, sort of upside of it is, the volume with Mandalorian season one, that new technology gave us
Yeah.
things that we had never seen before, and it was quite amazing. And then as they kind of exploited that technology, they kind of pushed the boundaries of it, and it kind of got iffy, right? Like you could tell, like this doesn't look quite right. It doesn't feel quite right. You may not be able to pinpoint it, but you could see it. Like this isn't right. Well, that technology is evolving, right? They've got generation 2 or generation 3 of the volume by now, probably generation 5 for all I know. Well, the same thing's going to happen as that technology increases and as AI gets better and better, the cost to create content that looks right will come down. And some of these budgets that they had for like the Acolyte, people complained about all the content of the Acolyte, but the reason Acolyte didn't get a season 2 or season 3 is because just simply didn't have the return on investment. It cost too much to make. If you get the cost down to a fraction, well, why wouldn't they go ahead and make a season 2 or season 3? If people watch it and they can make it, go ahead, you know?
So I see what you're saying. But speaking of what we, like the Acolyte, we'll talk. Let's get back on track talking about things that we can look forward to this year.
Yeah.
Things that have actually been made because the Acolyte did not make the cut.
Right.
I'm a little bit sour about it. I thought the Acolyte had a lot of potential, but like you said, the return investment wasn't there.
I shared a lot of the same feelings, I think. If you don't give something time to fully ripen, to mature, before you discard it, you maybe miss the opportunity to get something really fantastic. And I think a lot of people came into the Acolyte with such negativity that it never kind of gained any traction. There's a million reasons that happened. And you can blame Disney for all of it, or you can slice it up. The point is, had the fans embraced it more and had the ROI been there, there's a lot of potential in that show. And I didn't think it was nearly as bad as a lot of people said. And I would love to see where that story went.
You just couldn't even. It was such a trendy thing to kind of, if you excuse me for saying this, like shit on it.
Yep.
That I don't think people really think that had a negative effect on how other people like. I think there was a great deal of people who didn't or hated the Acolyte who really didn't even watch the Acolyte.
Yep.
That's not to say that there's not reasons for them to dislike it or hate it, but I mean, like Maul's a good example. I remember when Maul was first like revealed to have survived, it was almost like an eye roll. It kind of annoyed a lot of people.
This is great.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
there are people complaining today, right? Like they saw this announcement of Maul Shadow Lord, and they're like, bringing Maul back lessens death in Star Wars. They're like, dude, this isn't new. This isn't like this show didn't bring him back. There are people who don't know. And I remember like the end of Solo.
Yeah.
People were like, who was that?
What is that?
Wait.
Yeah.
He's dead. So when did this happen? Did it happen before Phantom Menace? Like, I don't understand. And you're like,
it is probably one of the most epic storylines. The whole thing between Maul and his brother is like, it is definitely headcanon. I mean, it is probably some of the most intense storyline. I mean, and when, of course, we talk about like references and stuff, there's like kind of a leak by Freddie Prinze Jr. Isn't that his name? Who came out and basically like compared Maul to Sisyphus. And now that since he said that, I can't like unsee it. Like I feel like we know Maul. Well, we know the outcome of Maul, right? We know what happens to Maul because of what happens with in Clone Wars with Obi-Wan is basically shown killing him. But this whole thing, because isn't this basically what is the time frame that we're looking on Shadow Lord?
It picks up right after Clone Wars.
So after the whole Mandalorian thing that happens between Ahsoka and Maul, so it's
Yeah.
where would Solo be at that time? Not born.
It's before the movie. It's before Solo, but perhaps overlapping even with Solo. There's a lot of speculation saying that this show could pick up where Solo left off, maybe after season 1 or season 2. If this thing gets legs and it's allowed to get multiple seasons, and we get 5, 6, 7 seasons, it's very possible for this show to go from right after Clone Wars through Rebels into Solo and following Solo to pick up that story that was just sort of cliffhanger at the end of the movie, and like, holy smokes, there's Maul. What the what, right? And then you're waiting to find out what happens, and you never find out what happened. What happened?
Well, there's always been like this thing that Lucas wanted to show the underworld, the underbelly kind of series, or like, I mean, this is basically it, though, isn't it? I mean, this is basically standing in for that.
There's some of that. It's not standing in for, but it's of the same spirit. Lucas's underworld thing involved more like clones, stormtroopers, like in the bellies of Coruscant. This doesn't take place on Coruscant. This planet that you see in the trailer, they've said it's a different planet. They kind of outline what it is. I love the animation style. It's got some like artistic elements added over top of what we saw in like Clone Wars. Some taste of Rebels with its own kind of paint added. Like, almost looks like a paint application added to it. It's really cool.
Kind of what the Spider-Verse, kind of the
if
like
you start that trailer up there, and there's a scene.
Can we watch this?
Yeah, there's a scene just a few seconds in, and you can see what I'm talking about with like the paint. It's looks like almost watercolor or oils or something applied to it. Quite interesting.
Wow. I think this is far too much for my computer to
saying too much.
No, it's not going. It's not going.
Yeah, hit that one there. It says watch trailer. What happens there? See, there we go. Stop. Yeah.
You might not be able to hear the sound, but that's better.
What was in that opening right here? Stop it there. If you go back just a couple of seconds and hit pause, as soon as that like cityscape comes up there.
Yeah.
That doesn't look like the kind of animation we've seen before. It looks like a watercolor in the background, right? Those buildings, the environment. It's a different style.
It looks very Blade Runner to me.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, it's like the underworld of Coruscant, of course, we know is like where the Martinez sisters and stuff come from.
Yeah.
It's like a wretched
but it's not Coruscant. This planet, some other planet. So
this is basically about Crimson Dawn, though. Isn't that what they're called? Crimson Dawn?
Just as Solo is supposedly real close to Solo. Dale's saying it's about an overlap with Solo already.
Okay, around 10 BBY. 10 years before. Yavin. All right. Let's see here. So that's probably the first thing that we've got, right? With the with Maul coming out on like Star Wars Day, right?
It
Like
comes out April something, and it runs through Star Wars Day, May 4th.
oh, okay.
We get
And
2 episodes a
then
week. There's a couple of things different about it. We get 2 episodes a week, and they're on Mondays. Most of them have been on, like, Wednesdays or Thursday. It started with Fridays, now it's Mondays, so when do new shows come out? I don't know, but these come out Mondays. It's gonna run from April through May 4th, and then as you have here, Mando Grogu, May 22nd. Uh, and this is it got people frustrated too. Like, they don't know about the, advertising. And my point has been for some time, marketing in the COVID, post-COVID era seems to have changed from what we were used to. Used to, you get trailers months ahead and it would build and build and build. Anymore, and I saw this with Superman last summer. It wasn't but maybe 2 or 3 weeks before Superman released that the marketing went crazy for Superman, and it was everywhere. It was on billboards and buses and trailers and, um, you know, commercials, and you couldn't miss Superman for anything. And people were complaining, "Well, where are Mando Grogu trailers? It's February already, and this thing comes out in May. Where are the trailers?" I say, "Oh, hold on. We probably won't see the trailers. The real strong marketing campaign won't probably start until the 1st of May. Like, we'll get little things trickled out between now and then, and people will continue to kind of ramp up their frustration. But in the real world anymore, that's not how marketing works."
no, I think they've kind of learned their lesson off of like the Acolyte. Like there was too much information that came out about the Acolyte before the Acolyte was a thing, and that allowed the space of people to have like a negative aura was already like stuck to it before it was actually like revealed to us. And I think that, I think that this kind of like made Disney recede their marketing a little bit. They don't want people kind of associating it to whatever political thing that people wanted to tie it to before it even has like a chance to breathe.
Yeah.
That's what the way I read it. I mean, that's speculation, but whatever.
Well, I use Superman as an example. Like, that's a big movie that came out last year. It was successful at the box office. It wasn't like, over the top, but it did make money for the studio. And the marketing for it, just look at what they did and compare it to what's happened so far with Mandalorian and Grogu. And I see where this is the strategy now. It's wait until later and then flood the market with everything. And that's what I expect.
So
In the
there's
meantime, they're
some
giving
things that don't even have marketing yet because even though we're getting them this year, we don't have dates like Ahsoka, right?
right. There's a lot of things. Just until last week or 2 weeks ago, we didn't know when Maul Shadow Lord was. We didn't have a date. We thought that it was going to be in the spring, and then Marvel came out this thing about a comic book series that's going to come out in March. We thought that Maul Shadow Lord was going to be in March, and then it was like, wait, if the comic book is a prequel to the show, then how many episodes of the comic and how frequently and before and where does it line up? We didn't know. And then the trailer came out for Maul, and now we have a date. The same thing with Ahsoka season 2. We can guess when it is because it finished filming in August of last year. And then they had to do, post work and all that. And at that time, they said there was about a year of post-production work to be done on it. So just math, you say, okay, well, finished wrapping in August. That means maybe August or September of this year, Ahsoka season 2 will come out. I could see them pushing it as late as October, but we don't have a date. We don't know if it'll be August or December. sometime in between. We don't know. We also know that they're doing this Ninth Jedi animated series.
which is off
We
of
don't have a date.
Visions, right? Which is
It's a spin-off from Visions, yes.
does this make it canon or
Yeah.
no?
It's just it was so popular, they went back and said, "Make more."
And
Studio
we
said,
don't have
"Sure."
anything on this at all?
And
Really?
not really. We know that it's coming this year, but that's all we know. We don't know if it's gonna be July or
Andor's wrapped, right? Because Andor 2
done.
basically just curled right up underneath Rogue One. So there's not
Yep.
any more that we can get out of that. But what could
Nope,
we like
done.
possibly expect in Ahsoka? We actually had one of the actors die and get replaced, didn't we?
Yep. Yeah. Baylan Skull's been replaced. There's been some images come out from Morai the Messenger. They've been really good at releasing some images. And then I have some leaks that I know about Ahsoka season 2. And so far, all the stuff I've seen Morai the Messenger release aligns to the leaks I know. So, pretty exciting. For those familiar with the Mortis arc from Clone Wars, there's an overlap, and expect to see some sort of retelling of the Mortis arc to catch people up.
No, there was something else you sent me that was, let's see. Yeah, there it
Yep.
is. What is this? This is Ahsoka, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So this was some concept art that was shown um, at like Celebration, or it came out since Celebration, and you can clearly see the imagery of Hera and Chopper, down underneath the tree, and and then somebody said, "Well, gee, that looks a whole lot like, yeah, that looks a whole lot like Lord of the Rings." It's
That's Filoni, though. I think that's like Filoni's standby.
yeah,
I mean, we've tried to like make predictions about Boba Fett. I mean, it's sprinkled throughout anything Filoni touches. It's almost like this little Lord of the Rings Easter egg, but I don't know if it's going to like come to total fruition of being exactly like Lord of the
right, right.
Rings.
Now,
Excuse me.
what I suspect, I know we're kind of bouncing a little bit. We kind of went right past the movie, but with Ahsoka season 2, I went back and rewatched the Mortis arc from Clone Wars, and I've been listening to the old, now it's Legends content of the Fate of the Jedi series, where Mortis is also kind of overlaps in it. And I think something people overlook, and it's a point, if you rewatch it, you see when we see him go to Mortis, they see this big what's that thing called? It's in space. It's a obelisk kind of. No, it's not an obelisk. It's
Monolith.
monolith. Yeah, it's like an 8-sided dice, right?
The tetrahedron or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And this thing opens up, and there's this big bright light, and then the ship goes in, and the scale of it is huge. And a lot of people think that the Mortis arc happens inside that monolith, a tetrahedron thing. But the actual show tells us that they were someplace else. They were taken to another world, another system. They weren't even sure they were in the same universe anymore. That's what Obi-Wan says. And when that happens, there it is. Yeah. they're taken to another universe, another system, another planet. They're actually on another planet. And in the book, it says the same thing. They were transported to another planet. I am convinced, it's my own theory, but I am absolutely convinced that that planet they're taken to is Peridia. That is the planet. And when we see them looking at the distance, this little pinpoint of light on top of a mountain, I believe it is Mortis. That is a portion of the planet. It's not the whole planet, but it's an area on the planet. Like we have continents on Earth, right? So they're taken to a place that's Mortis. It's a geographical region on Peridia, and I'm pretty sure that's where they're going. And that place actually physically exists on Peridia. The other part of that, which is absolutely pertinent, is that in a snap, in an instant, they're taken from that planet, that system, back to their regular place, right? Just as they were taken instantly from, the Star Wars galaxy to this other planet, and another system, another galaxy. It's an instant transportation. We've lost Will. So I think that as we saw Ahsoka, Sabine, Shin, and Balin on Peridia, I think they can instantly get from there back to the Star Wars galaxy through whatever that portal is. Hello, am I here? Do you all see me? I see me. I don't see Will. I don't see the meta egg stuff anymore. I just see me. You guys still see me? I suspect Will be back here shortly. There he is.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Goodness.
Good. You're
Well,
back.
this is the Illuminati never let you talk, Santa. They always cut you off.
I had control. I was here all by myself. Yeah.
You were talking about right before you went all wonky, you were talking about Heridia, but you were talking about like I can't remember exactly.
The transportation, like when we saw Obi-Wan and Ahsoka and Anakin go to Peridia, they transported to another galaxy in an instant, to another planet in another galaxy in an instant. And when the story was complete, they traveled back in an instant. If my theory is correct, and that Ahsoka, Sabine, Jin, and Balin are on Peridia, and a portion of that planet, a geographical area on that planet, is Mortis, they could easily transport back in an instant without using World Between Worlds, without using the space whales. Right?
I'm totally convinced that it's always the world between worlds. Like if there's like some sort of like whatever creates that instant transport thing probably has to do with the world between the worlds. And the same way that the whole talent of Kylo Ren and Rey being able to pass the lightsaber between each other or whatnot, I think that has to do with the world between two. I just had to interrupt that because
could be.
Okay, so
much like a wormhole.
Yeah,
I think 2 points, you fold it and you connect them. I don't know.
This planet, right?
Yeah, that's Peridia.
And we definitely saw like the statues of the mother and stuff in the background. So we know that there's some sort of temple. What's the big bad woman with the weird mouth? Alsmoth or whatever her name is. Do you know what I'm talking about?
So there's been a lot of speculation that we're gonna see her as part of Ahsoka season 2.
What's her name again?
Abeloth.
Abeloth.
Yeah.
Abeloth.
I am not convinced. Abeloth exists in the expanded universe as the mother. We had in the Mortis arc, we had the father, the son, and the daughter. The mother was an entity that exists in the expanded universe, but is not canon. So people were thinking that perhaps this entity will be introduced. I'm not convinced. From my contact, the person that I talked to early on who was involved with Ahsoka season 1 said that Abeloth was not in the scripts or the story for Ahsoka season 2. Doesn't mean she wasn't added or that maybe he didn't have all the information. Just saying that she wasn't in what we knew. And I think there's other explanations for what people are putting together, like the math of it all, that explains it differently. I'm not convinced she's going to be in it. Maybe she is. I'm not convinced.
So if you had your bet, which way is that series going to go? Like, what storyline are they basically going to play out, do you think?
Oh, okay. So, with what I know and what I can piece together, on Peridia, we're going to go to this area called Mortis. It's a geographical area. We'll see some sort of retelling of the Mortis arc from the Clone Wars animated series. And then we'll see some sort of new context for it based on today. And so there'll be a retelling plus a now. I think the outcome of that is going to go one of two ways. One way, which I think kind of accounts for Ahsoka's whereabouts afterwards and beyond, is that Ahsoka becomes part of the new Mortis God's Trinity. Right? That she'll become the new daughter. We'll get a new father and a new son, and she will stay there for the rest of eternity. That's where Ahsoka will live forever, never dying. I think that's, if I were to say, that's probably 40% probability. The other part of that is that they use that Mortis realm, the Mortis geographical area, travel back to, say, the Night Witch's planet. She just went blank on it.
Dathomir.
Dathomir, yeah. That they'll go back to Dathomir through that portal and meet Thrawn there. And we know that there's going to be a big battle with Thrawn and like Admiral Akbar and things like that in the other universe. And they're at Peridia. I'm not Peridia. At Dathomir now. So Thrawn and his whatever folks are at Dathomir. They've got a bunch of Night Witches there. They've got a bunch of Night Witch like skeletons, zombies that are being raised from the dead. And there's going to be some sort of big bad thing happen around Dathomir. And perhaps that's where Ahsoka, Sabine, Jin, and Balin will come back. I don't know. I think that's probably a 60% chance that Ahsoka comes back through there, or at least Sabine will come back through that Mortis realm. We'll get Sabine, maybe Jin come back, and maybe Ahsoka and Balin stay. Balin could be the new son. Ahsoka's the new daughter. They stay. Sabine and Shin come back, and then Anakin becomes the new father. That's where my thoughts are.
That's a lot to think about.
And some information
Right.
I know, like I know they're going to have a retelling of the Mortis arc. That's a certainty, not a guess.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is there anything coming out about the Old Republic? I see that they're redoing the game, but is
Yeah,
there
is some news coming out from that. It's still a little bit unclear. We'll expect to see more. We're expecting to see something come out on that. This Galactic Racer, that's a new game that was announced. It's a bit of a pod racer game on where Ray's from.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of all of this. And then of course we can also talk about the Legos too, because
That's a fun
we
part.
made a. This is, if anybody hasn't yet seen Santa's show, he does this a lot where he will put Legos together while he's telling you about the news and talking about Star Wars. But wait, this isn't what we initially talked about, but there is quite a bit of Star Wars paraphernalia coming out this year. As well as what we were said about smart blocks. Do you want to talk about smart blocks?
Yeah, smart blocks are new. Lego just announced them, and we can see now they're doing a whole bunch of things with these smart bricks and Star Wars. In the way that I understand it is, we used to have these figures you could get, and they'd have different bases. And if you put the figure on a base, it would say a thing. You got a different base, and you put the figure on that different base, it would say a different thing, right? And you could get the figure to say different things by putting it on different bases. Or you could take two different figures on two different bases, put them together, and they would interact. You'd hear their voices back and forth. That's old stuff, back from the 90s, early 2000s. Then what they're announcing here with these smart bricks is very much the same. So you get a smart brick that's in, say, your TIE fighter, your X-Wing, or your A-Wing, whatever. And you get it close to another smart brick, and they'll interact together. There's pre-programmed sounds and sayings and stuff that they will say, or they'll make. And when you get them close together, they interact. They make sounds, right? Like you got you can see, right? They've got the Falcon there. It just makes it for fun, interactive kind of things as a play feature of Legos. Right? They'll make lights, they'll make sounds, and there's things that
they're making scenes. It seems like, like we would always replay the certain scenes from Star Wars that they're created, and I imagine, like you say, they would probably say like Red 5 standing by or stay on target or something that was probably relevant to the scene.
Right. Wahoo, kid, let's get on out of here. That kind of thing.
Don't get cocky, kid. Yeah, and then
it's pretty cool.
Even
you see there where they light up, right?
From Return of the Jedi. This one, okay, 666 pieces. Can we just add one more piece, guys? The whole cantina. I remember I found like an old play set that somebody had not touched for 40 years of like the cantina cardboard set. But it's just kind of special to see, like, it's preserved. I can't believe they're still making like cantina sets, dude. That's next year will be 50, right? Next year will be 50.
a big deal. They're going to release the original theatrical Star Wars. I mean,
I'll go
with
watch that.
the original ending with the, you know, the original crawl before it said episode 4.
Well, all right. Looks here. I will show everybody where they can find your stuff, and then I only asked for an hour of your time, so I'll let you go. Come on. Besides, I'm having like some clunky internet right now, and it's kind of it's making me nervous. Star Wars. I don't want to like pop off and you just sit here and try to recoup. I appreciate that though, Santa. I mean, you know better than anyone else what um, uh, technical difficulties are like during live
I
streams.
do. I do. I
If anybody
appreciate you,
hasn't
Will.
checked out,
I told people you touch base with me. You make sure I'm doing well. You're a great friend, and I truly, truly appreciate you
well,
and what you do.
I can talk about things with you. Like I can sit there and talk about. I get the opportunity to talk about like things like the acolyte if no one else wants to talk to me about them, and I can find out what's possible. I can shoot you a theory, and you'll consider it. You won't be like that's dumb or that's not even canon or something stupid like that. So yeah, I'm always like trying to figure out what I took a break though. A lot of like how the fandom has changed and how they respond to, I guess, bad news turned me off. Like I turned a bunch of other people's uh, subscriptions off and just stuck to yours because that way I can get like, like unbiased, so to
Well,
speak.
you make a really good point, and it's something I think a lot of, especially YouTube content creators, forget that there is a huge population of Star Wars fans who are turned off to YouTube. They've gone out to YouTube to watch some Star Wars content. They found some channels and found out that content creators are doing nothing but complaining about Star Wars. And they want to come and they want to talk about what they like and they want to have these conversations. Um, and so they're
Well, it's
checked
just
out. They're just
audience.
not watching.
It turns trendy, like a
Yeah,
bad opinion totally turns trendy into the point where it's like it is some sort of audience capture. A thing that bugged me a lot though is sometimes people like tend to come on your show to be negative, and that always like annoyed me. Also, it's like,
yeah,
come on, guys,
well,
like
yeah.
like it's just you're just trying to make it hard on Santa at this point. But
Well, I can understand wanting to vent. I get it. I do that too. But it's not dwelling on it, you know? You got to move off of it because fans, the whole point is that you love the thing and you want to talk about it from the passion and love you have. You can vent, but you want to talk about that thing you love. So why spend, your time watching content that complains about the thing you love? It's just no fun. And there's people get the sense that, well, fans hate whatever. Well, they hate it on this platform because this platform breeds that hate. The vast majority of the fandom, the vast, vast majority of the fandom has no interaction with this platform. And if you're gauging the temperature by the heat in the room, well, you're in a tiny little room, tiny little box of a room. And they think it's the vast expanse, and it's not. It's a tiny little room and a platform that breeds this kind of attitude. You got to step away from that box. You got to get out of it. You got to go touch grass and meet people. Go to the conventions. Go talk to just other fans out and about. They're not going to spend their whole time, just completely.
it's changed so much that I don't think people realize that their like internal temperature has changed. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But it's almost like I hate to bring it up because I in my opinion it definitely has something to do with COVID, but it's almost like not using mask. You would never see anybody with a mask, and now sometimes you still catch people with mask on because there has been like a normalization of that behavior. And I think that the way that we kind of absorb certain, I don't think people watch series the way they used to. I think everybody's on their phone constantly,
Well,
and
that's
so
true.
you're watching it halfway. It's just a difference in how we do it. Like, so I'm interested to see what happens with Grogu and Mando, even though there is the possibility it's too little, too late. Like they probably should have done a movie about 2 seasons ago or something along those
I think it's
lines.
gonna
Or
be fine. I think it's gonna be
I think
fine.
it's going to be good. I go see a lot of movies, and movies aren't the same as what they used to. Even it's almost like you go back and you watch the original prequels, right? And that CGI is almost better than most of the CGI that we use today. Like
That's a different
there's
discussion, but yeah, but I think Mando Grogu is gonna be fine. They played the trailer with, Zootopia 2. Zootopia
mhm.
2 did over $1 billion. Zootopia is not in my wheelhouse, it's not on my radar. Not something that I'm connected with. But there's a ton of people, little kiddos and their moms, families, siblings that went and saw Zootopia 2 and saw that Mando Grogu trailer. There's your audience. They're not interested in the people who are on YouTube complaining about Star Wars all day. That's not their audience. I mean, to some degree it is, right? But it's such a small portion of who they're targeting. They're targeting, the vast majority of fans that have no interaction with this platform. And I care less what people on YouTube are talking about with Star Wars.
But I
And that's
think
a
it hurts
huge
your own show, though. I mean, it's just like, why are you going to call yourself, Star Wars Will, and then like hate on Star Wars? Like,
right.
and some people handle this better than others, but there's been this capture of, we have to go where the trend goes or whatnot, and that's,
Mhm.
I don't know if it's like healthy. I mean, and a lot of the opinions change. I mean, like we were talking about. I think I viewed midichlorians different than I initially did.
Yeah,
Definitely view I've definitely viewed Maul different than I used to, and
yeah,
so like you got to give yourself a little bit of room to 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 grow as
yeah,
far as what you allow to be in your head canon or whatnot. But
yeah, yeah.
as
We
always,
need
it's
to
been a
spend more
pleasure.
time together more frequently because I'd love to talk to you more, but it's
Yeah, I
very
think I'm
definitely
coming around. It's just,
fine.
some of my best videos are still Star Wars, but for a second there, I was just like, I can't deal with this anymore. Like I
No, I
have to
understand. And
back
I
up.
think it's an example of where a lot of fans are too. I can't deal with this anymore. They checked out of the platform.
Yeah, it's just so much back and forth. And I don't want, like, I don't really want to talk shit about anybody. There's a little bit of maybe a sigh of release with, the leaving of Kathleen Kennedy. Uh, Not because I'm like going ding dong, the witch is dead, but I think that others will stop saying that after a while.
Yeah, yeah,
And so, but it still remains to be seen. Like some of the things that she did, some of the, the woke culture or whatnot kind of gets on my nerves too, because it's to the point it's like, come on, like, do we really have to beat our head against a wall here to where we're fighting, where there's like a culture war going in Star Wars? It's not even supposed to be our culture, bro. It's supposed to be like from a galaxy far, far away, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I knew what
it's
you mean.
just
There's a lot to unpack in what you just said. Um, let's do it again.
all right. Well, I'll talk to you soon. And everybody, thanks for showing up in the chat room. If you haven't subscribed, please just subscribe. Watch the whole videos. There's so much stuff out there. And go find Star Wars Santa too. And until then, you guys,